Hey everybody, it's Justice for Comics. It is Thursday evening. It is time for Whiskey, Cigars, and Comics. So, a few things to go over. I did pull up some articles off of CBR and Bleeding Cool. So there's a couple things in the news to take a look at. A couple hot books came out this week that are worth mentioning again. I touched on one of them on my new comic book day video yesterday. I did that very late very early this morning, actually. I did that at like 1 o'clock last night. So some of you, I don't know if you caught the replay of it or not, but all right. Got my stogie lit up. Luis Ramirez, 504. Welcome, my friend Zack B. Welcome to the chat. Mad Mike's Comics. What's going on, my friend? Bake the Snake. What's going on? All right, Zack B has some good news. Man, that's awesome. An ASM 14, 4.0. That would make anybody's week, man. Congratulations. You got to love those raffles, man, on Instagram. I enroll in some of them. What is it? I get emails all the time from Cover Price. I enter their sweepstakes. CBSI, I think I've entered a couple of theirs. I need to follow those Instagram ones. I don't know that I follow that many of them. So I know a lot of people will do that where there'll be a nice book for sale, and what they'll do is you can buy so many spots. There'll be 20 spots. Maybe it's $10 a spot. So let's say you spend $40-50 for a chance to win, $1,000 book or a $2,000 book. I mean, those are, sometimes those can work out pretty well, but it sounds more like gambling. Your odds are better doing that than going to the casino, I'm sure. But yeah, and raffles, you can't beat that. That's awesome. So Zack B's done 5 of them. He hasn't won until now. Very cool. Yeah, I'll have to try it sometime. That's a pretty cheap one. $2 a piece, 10 entries. That's nice. That's what I wouldn't mind doing those. Like, I think $2 to $5 per entry. So maybe I want to spend $20 to $40. I'd be willing to do that for a good chance to win a really good book. Still, those aren't too bad odds, right? So there were 500 or 600 spots. All right. So you gave yourself a 1 out of 50 or a 1 out of 60 chance. Those aren't too bad, right? Those are decent odds. I'd say if you did 5 to 10 of those, you ought to at least win one, right? The odds would be at some point you should win one, unless you just have really bad luck, which that could be the case. That's probably what would happen to me. But congratulations, great book to have. All right, let's jump into a couple things I want to show you. I think I got Bleeding Cool's site up first. Let me pull that up. All right. There we go. We got the old Bleeding Cool site up. Notice all the pop-ups that are popping up on the screen. It's the only problem with going on this site. Definitely recommend, if you're going to go on Bleeding Cool, use a better browser. Chrome, Safari, definitely you're going to have pop-ups. The best browser to use is Brave. You won't get any pop-ups with Brave, or viruses. So That's probably the best browser to use if I had to choose one. So there's a couple news items here. Clock number 1, there's a review on that. They're giving it a pretty favorable review. Obviously, it's an end of the world type of scenario. So yeah, that falls probably a little bit more in the horror category. I do have this coming to me in my Midtown order. I pre-ordered that in advance, so yeah, it should be good. You know, it's not a bad idea to buy number 1s. You just never know; they might get optioned. There could be heat on that book at some point. Matt Hawkins is the writer on that, and you got Colleen Duran as the artist. It's kind of a cool cover. I like the design of that cover. So I grabbed an issue just to try it out, see if it's any good, but apparently initial reviews are pretty good. CBSI also did a reader buzz. It made the list of books, good books to read for the week. So that dropped this Wednesday. So you may want to grab that if you haven't already. Clock number 1 by Image and Top Cow. All right. Let's go back to the chat here. Same old players. We got about 5 people in the chat. I'm doing this a little early. It's a little harder to do them at night. Just my schedule right now. This is not the best time to do them. Welcome, Tom's Comics and Reviews. Welcome to the chat, my friend. All right, so that's one of the articles there, Bleeding Cool. Clock number 1 looks like it could be a good read. There's something else. Oh yeah, Black Hammer. So there's going to be another Black Hammer book, tie-in book, which is Colonel Weird Cosmogog. Colonel Weird Cosmogog. It will be a 4-issue miniseries telling the strange origin of Colonel Randall Weird. So that will be one that I most likely will pick up. I've been picking up Skulldigger and Skeleton Boy, and I haven't read it yet. I've got the first 2 issues, but I haven't read it. A little behind in my reading. Trying to catch up. I mean, I'm about halfway done with my stack, so hopefully by the weekend I'll have it mostly completed. But Jeff Lemire, if you're not familiar with Jeff Lemire's writing, he's got a nice style. I like he's a very good storyteller. Tyler Crook. I know Tyler Crook really well from, I collected Harrow County, which was a Cullen Bunn written series, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It's, definitely witches and horror, and it was just well written. Cullen Bunn does a good job, and the art by Tyler Crook was excellent. So I think this is a series, 4 issues. Yeah, I'm going to grab every issue. I think it's worth doing. I like Jeff Lemire's writing, and Colonel Weird, he's definitely out there. Interesting character. Like to flesh him out a little bit more. Go into a little bit more detail about him. I think that would be, it could be a good story. So I think that's one that I'm going to grab. All right, let's look at, there was another article here. Let's see here. Yeah, I watched a couple reviews on Star number 1. I did not pick this up. I don't know. Kelly Thompson's writing is not the best, in my opinion. A lot of dialogue. I don't know. I do have Star's first appearance, which is Captain Marvel. What is that, number 9? I think it's number 9. 8 or 9. I think it's 8. So I do have her first appearance, but I wasn't really interested in picking this up. A few YouTube channels, and yeah, it's kind of what I thought it would be. Not all that interesting. She's kind of a villain more than a hero. I don't know, it's kind of like Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's a little bit more villain than hero these days. So it's not something I'm all that interested in. So the review here by Hannibal Taboo was meh, kind of mediocre. That's kind of what I thought it would be. There's probably a couple pages that are decent. You know, you've got all these cool variant covers. I don't know. I mean, the only thing good about some of those books is there was a really nice Ji-Hung Lee cover that I liked, but you know, I'm not gonna. I knew that series was going to be kind of a dud, so I'm kind of glad I didn't pick it up. So I passed on star number 1, and it looks like I made the right decision so far. What else we got here in the? Oh, they're doing a sequel to Dark Knights Metal, Death Metal, the sequel to Dark Knights. Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are teaming up again. Let's see if they give any type of release date on this. It's probably going to be over the summer, if I had to guess. Yeah, so they got a picture of him. Capullo likes to work out his arms. I wonder if Capullo is one of those guys that has like nice upper body, you know, nice. He works on his arms a lot, his chest, and he's got really skinny legs. I see those guys in the gym all the time. Their upper body looks like really built, and then they've got like these little stick legs. I don't know what Greg Capullo's legs look like, but he kind of looks like that guy that I see at the gym, who, you know, is in the mirror, you know, crafting his arms, making sure his arms look cut and ripped, and then he's got these little beanpole legs. So I like to be balanced everywhere. I'm fluff everywhere, so I kind of I'm in a balanced state of being. I don't have much muscle anywhere, so. But yeah, Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder, Dark Knights Metal. I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. Definitely some of the stories, like the Red Death, was really cool. Obviously, we have the introduction of the Batman Who Laughs, which was probably one of the most pivotal characters to come out in DC in quite a while. So I liked Dark Knights Metal. So I'd be interested in seeing what they do with the sequel to that. I think that could be good. All right. I'm sure I'm still broadcasting. I think I am. All right. Let's go on to the next article that I thought was interesting. Something is Killing the Children gets a 6th printing. I guess that book's doing well. I think I have the first 1 or 2 printings. I don't think I went beyond the first 2 printings. Yeah, I mean, it was decent. It's a good story. I like Tynion. I like James Tynion. I think he's going to do a good job on Batman. Looks like Batman 86 looks pretty good. That's probably one of the most important books to pick up this past Wednesday, was Batman 86. You finally have Tom King off the book. Obviously, he didn't do well. A lot of fans kind of lashed out about that. That's why they cut him off 15 issues earlier than they were originally planning. So we're on to a new writer. Some of the reviews, I did watch a couple videos, review of Batman 86, and it looked pretty good. Yeah, I didn't watch the entire review, but from what I saw, it does look like it's going to be a pretty good book. There was something else. Let me see here. I thought Sean Murphy was coming out. I think Sean Murphy is coming out with a new Catwoman book. It's coming out over the summer. I think DC is just going to keep giving him more and more titles, and he's going to kind of create his own little universe. Seems to be the way it's going right now. Let's see where I saw that. Yeah, here we go. So there's an image, probably one of the covers that might be the first first issue cover. Catwoman there. You got it's like a panther, and then you've got this Lamborghini Countach in the background. It's pretty cool. He does love to incorporate a lot of automobiles and cool looking race cars in his drawing. He's definitely a car nut. So you're gonna probably see him do a lot of different versions of different cars, Batmobiles, things like that. That's what's cool about Sean Gordon Murphy. So I'm looking forward to that. The co-writer is going to be Blake Northcott. And you got Matt Hollingsworth as colorist. Says it's not related to his Batman White Knight series. So it sounds like it's not going to be part of the Murphyverse, as they are starting to call it. It's going to be probably a story within DC continuity. So I think that might be cool. I like Sean Gordon Murphy. I think pretty much everything he does is spot on for the most part. All right, we got Mark Knapp 68. Welcome to the chat, my friend. Everyone loves Zack B's win. He won an ASM 14 off a raffle. Looks like he spent $20. I think his 4.0 is worth a little bit more than that. That's awesome. Very good. Let's go back to some of the stories here. I don't know if there was anything else. Rob Liefeld sings. I don't know. I don't pay attention to Rob Liefeld much. Let me go over to CBR real quick. Let's jump over there. I think there was something there that was worth taking notice of. Yeah, there is a new trailer for Birds of Prey. It looked okay. The trailer looked all right. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that movie's going to flop, though. I don't know. I just have a feeling it's going to flop. Margot Robbie is obviously going to carry that movie, I would think. Interesting. She's encouraging DC Universe fans to read the comics. Well, that's a little interesting, isn't it? Completely the opposite of, what was her name, the Captain Marvel actress? See, she's so unimportant to me, I forget her name now. What's her name? Damn, I can't remember her name. Bryn, what's her name? I hate not remembering something. Let me just type it in real quick. Brie Larson. I knew start with a B. Yeah. Kind of the opposite of Brie Larson. I don't think Brie Larson was telling people to read comic books. If anything, she was kind of making fun of people that read comic books. So I love the contrast there between Margot Robbie and Brie Larson. Brie Larson would rather insult you and disparage you as a comic book fan. And Margot Robbie is actually encouraging you to read comic books. So I think that's great. I'd rather go see her movie, even if it's not the greatest, even if I'm sure there'll be some cringy moments. That's kind of what happens a lot of times with these movies. But man, so much better than Captain Marvel and Brie Larson, who basically just attacks people. So yeah, I'm glad to see Margot Robbie's on board with the comic book fan. That's awesome. Zack B says, yeah, I think the new Batman movie started filming. Sounds like a heck of a cast. Yeah, it could be good. We'll have to see. I mean, there's some skepticism on who's playing Batman, I think, right? You got Robert Pattinson playing Batman. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, people look at him and think of that vampire role he played for so long. So I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't get typecast. But with Henry Cavill playing The Witcher, probably the first episode, I kept thinking about Superman all the time because he's such an iconic Superman. But by the second or third episode, yeah, he was The Witcher. I mean, he played the role perfect. So yeah. Well, I have high hopes. I hope the new Batman movie is going to be great. We'll see. The problem is it's going to be compared. Everything's going to be compared to the Christopher Nolan run. That's going to be something that I think every Batman movie going forward is going to always have issues with, is being compared to that era. So, Zack B said, "How did you like the Suicide Squad when it came out?" I thought there were parts of it that I really liked. The Suicide Squad, I liked Will Smith playing Deadshot. I thought he was good. I liked that scene where he's, doing target practice and they're playing that music, and that was awesome. I liked Harley Quinn in it, obviously. I hated the Joker. I thought that was very, very cringy. I did not like, and I was not alone in that. There's many, I would say most people did not care for the depiction of Joker. It was just too over the top. It was just too cartoonish. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't. So there were parts of Suicide Squad that I really liked, and there were some parts that I thought, man, this is cringy. But overall, I thought it was entertaining. I was entertained by it. But I didn't walk away thinking about that movie like I did with Dark Knight Returns or Dark Knight Rising. Some of the other movies that linger in my mind more. So it wasn't anywhere near that level, but I was entertained. Let's put it that way. So, yeah, I thought it was okay. I agree with you. I didn't think it was terrible. I think there were some good parts to it, and overall, it was entertaining. But I didn't think about that movie an hour after I saw it. Right. So, I love a movie that I'm thinking about. Like after I see it, like that day, I'm still thinking about it. The next day, I wake up and I'm thinking still about that movie, and that's a good movie. That's kind of how I gauge a good movie, if I'm thinking about it after I've seen it. So, not too many movies do that to me. So, we'll see. Cameron D, welcome to the chat, my friend. Good evening. Yes, sir. Good evening. Manny, the comic collector. He's always in the house. I've got my, so I'm drinking my, my bourbon. It's the, damn, what's the bourbon I'm drinking right now? I just poured it. Yeah, I can't remember the bourbon. I got a couple different bourbons in the house, so I can't remember which one I poured. My mind's on comic books right now, so it's hard for me to think. I'm too focused. I'm too focused right now. All right, so what else was in the comic book news? Let's see here. Masters of the Universe kills off another popular villain to upgrade another one. I did pick up the first issue. I just thought the Dan Fraga cover was cool. And I know there was a first appearance in that issue. The anti He-Man, I think it was. But I'm not somebody who collects Masters of the Universe. I know there's some people out there that really love. I mean, I remember having a couple of the action figures when I was a kid. That's totally when I was probably 8, 9 years old when that came out, when that was on TV. I remember watching it on TV. Even then, I think I remember thinking, why is that guy's hair so weird? He had the old blonde bob haircut. I thought even as a kid, I remember thinking his hair is weird. Like, I don't know about that. But I remember being entertained by the cartoon. So, and I had a couple of the action figures, just probably because some of my friends had them. So I was collecting a couple of them. But I was more into Star Wars figures. And when I was a kid, G.I. Joe, I had a lot of G.I. Joe stuff. I love G.I. Joe. The G.I. Joe figures, you could articulate them. You can move their elbows. Star Wars was like the worst, right? The 70s Star Wars, there was no articulation with the figure. And then when G.I. Joe came out, you had a small, 5-inch figure, and you could move the elbows, you could move the arms, you could move the wrists. I mean, they had a lot more articulation to the G.I. Joe figures, so I loved G.I. Joe. I collected a lot of the G.I. Joe figures. Didn't really keep any of them. I think I gave them to my brother. I had a younger brother who got most of my toys, so he probably got most of them. I don't know if he kept them or not. I'll have to check in and see if he kept all that stuff. Who knows? I doubt it. All right, what else is going on here in the comic book world? Yeah, I'm interested in reading this Milos Morales, The End. I love that Raza cover. It's pretty cool looking cover. Yeah, it's, he dies, so okay, we already know that's going to happen, but it'd be interesting to see how that happens. So I'm interested in reading that. I think I should be getting that in my next order. Believe that comes out pretty soon. Yeah, Sabretooth. Isn't Sabretooth, didn't he get cast into some pit on Krakoa? What was that, House of X? If I remember, if my memory's pretty good on that. I think it was House of X number 5, issue number 5. They decided to not to kill him, but to cast him into some like bottomless pit within the island. So basically, they imprisoned him on the island. So obviously, he'll escape, and we'll see Sabretooth again at some point. I would imagine he's going to show up in the Wolverine run that's starting here pretty soon, right? Wolverine number 1's coming out in the next couple weeks, I think it is. So I think that comes out at the end of January, beginning of February. Might be February. I know I pre-ordered Wolverine number 1. Maybe it's the end of January. But I'm sure they're going to bring Sabretooth back. I have no doubt of that. Here it says he was working at Ravencroft back in 1909. So it's, they've got a storyline here of the past involving Sabretooth. Yeah, but going forward, obviously he's going to crawl out of that pit in Krakoa, and I imagine eventually he'll be in the Wolverine series. So keep that in mind. Malcolm Giles, what's up, my friend? How you doing? Yeah, I agree, Cameron. The actress that played Amanda Waller, she was pretty good. She was just like the comic book character. Cameron D, I would blow up my G.I. Joe figures with firecrackers. What a fool. I think I had that episode where I was melting a lot of stuff with a magnifying glass. I might have melted some holes on some of my action figures, probably reenacting a torture sequence. I'm pretty sure there was at least a couple Star Wars figures that got melted by a magnifying glass, along with a few ants on the sidewalk. Spent too much on New Comic Book Day. Yeah, man, there's a lot of good books coming out. I'm trying to get really, really picky on the books I'm picking up. I know this week we had a couple good books come out. Last week, I think the sleeper was at Ghost Rider number 4. I know that they're basically revamping Ghost Rider. Donnie Ketch is going to be, what's he going to be considered now? I can't remember. I can't remember the terminology for him. It's going to be a new character. I can't. Pick up that. I've got it on my key collector. This is the other thing too. I have the Key Collector app. I need to refer to it more often. So that's kind of where I got the news from, was Key Collector. They've got a daily update you can check on, books that are kind of hot or are on the move. They kind of track that. So it's a good app to have. I don't look at it every day. I probably should. Yeah, Spirit of Corruption. So Donnie Ketch, it's the first appearance of him as the Spirit of Corruption. So another iteration of the Ghost Rider. He's also got a Necro Sword. It's not the first Necro Sword, though, right? Doesn't Loki have a Necro Sword? I don't know. I think there's several Necro Swords in comic book history, so I know it's not the first one. But it looks like a key book, and that I did my new comic book video last night. I mentioned it. There's a B cover variant, which is a design variant. It's like a 1 in 10 by Aaron Cooter, and it's a cool looking cover. So that's the one I grabbed. I don't know if there's any buzz on it right now or not, but yeah, it's a cool looking cover. All right. Let me go back here. Yeah, I've been on for about 30 minutes. I wasn't going to do a real long video here. Just wanted to highlight a few things. Star Wars has been on fire lately. That Rise of Kylo Ren series has been really hot. Some of those issues are heating up, so you may, if you're a Star Wars fan, you may want to pay attention to that. Yeah, so there's some good news out there. I mean, there's a couple things I wanted to highlight. I'm going to try to do a stream over the weekend again, maybe on Saturday. That's a good question, Malcolm. Do you buy more for the story, artwork, or both? Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both. Story is probably more important to me than artwork, but I am sort of one of those people that gets drawn into a really good cover. So if I see a really good comic book cover, that tends to draw me in a little bit more. But yeah, I would say both for sure, but definitely a good story tends to be more important to me. I think long term that's going to be better to have a good story. First appearances, things like that. Yeah, absolutely. If I'm reading a comic book, even though if it has great artwork, if the story is really, really crappy, I usually drop the book. It's got to keep me interested. And if it's not, I end up dropping it. So yeah, I'd say it's artwork. I mean, artwork's good, but story's got to be there. Otherwise, I lose interest in it. So I read every comic book I buy. I mean, I talk to people all the time that they buy a lot of comic books and mostly don't read them. I read every single comic book. So I'm more driven by story, great stories versus artwork. But I love both. I think if you can get a comic book that has great story, great artwork, that's a home run all the way. All right, guys, I was on here for about 30 minutes. That's kind of, I just wanted to do a short little video, just highlighting some news, nothing big. Look for my next video tomorrow. I'll have one out highlighting the top 10 list by CBSI. So look for that. I'll have that out probably tomorrow afternoon. And also on Saturday, I'm usually up early on Saturday morning, so I'll probably do my top 20 list from Cover Price on Saturday morning. So look for that. All right, guys. Hope you have a great Thursday evening, and I'll see you this weekend. Thanks.